How y'all doing out there on a Tuesday? SandCity. Boo boo. Yes. IG is good. Facebook, what do we got? We got, yes, indeed. The Garden right now, 88-88 coming down the stretch. We got the Celtics and the Mavericks. Gonna get this playoff watch party. Get the Facebook where it needs to be. Excellent, excellent. SandCity Sports, we got to trust but verify. Crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Hope everybody is doing well out there. I'm seeing good news on Twitter. Nate Robinson is able to get the kidney donation. Hallelujah. Always want to see those good reports. SandCity is on Twitter. That's going on. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Let's make sure the YouTube is where it needs to be. Okay. Let me just check in. I see. Because you wanted. I see my people, Sports Fluent, are doing their thing. Shout out to Sports Fluent. SandCity is also in the building right now. It's a beautiful thing. And of course, last but not least, you know what it is. I know it's for the gamers, but we got to get Twitch. Got to get Twitch lined up on this Tuesday for NBA games. The April showers, folks, are coming to an end. It's time for the May flowers. Welcome to SandCity Sports. To the business. Oh my goodness. 5 minutes to go. Madison Square Garden. It's 90-90. We're here with this game. SandCity Sports is most certainly here with this game. Same time, Celtics are battling the Magic right now. Clippers will be going head-to-head with the Denver Nuggets, another outstanding series. So a ton of basketball to get to. Oh, yes. The N.F.L. draft did take place. SandCity, we're going to have to comment on what happened in terms of the draft. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders is top of the line. Also, players saying that they want to have this jersey for this Hall of Fame players. I've been hearing that narrative. Have to jump in on that. Okay, I'm happy for people to have their moment. What do we say? We say bon natal, chindan, right? Okay, you're talking to somebody. I'm born in the great state of New Jersey. I'll say it and I'll say it and I'll say it again. All right, so I come up in the tri-state area, okay? Over here, over there, the different cultures, we spread love, all right? And coming from the great state of New Jersey, being born in Summit, you know The Sopranos is near and dear to my heart. If that's your cup of tea, great. If it's not your cup of tea, I understand. It's near and dear to my heart. Shout out to David Chase and The Sopranos. It takes place in Caldwell, New Jersey. Where am I going with this? Okay. The different cultures, man. What I learned that Italianismo. I learned Italianismo from what I see and just day-to-day experience. But I learned from the program and just huge fan of David Chase. What we say, bonnet, we say chindan. Chindan. I'm not Italian, but say chindan when people have success and you want to see. We don't play or hate. We congratulate. You want to see people have success. What does that have to do with the NFL? At the same time, you can't talk crazy. Yeah, I want you to have success, but you can't talk crazy. All right, and so the rookies coming into the NFL, I understand you're having your moment. You're on the stage. We were here for the NFL draft. SandCity covered the NFL draft. Love it. Love those watershed moments, those major checkpoints that you have in your life, right? You graduate from high school. You graduate from college. Okay, you get engaged, you get married, you have kids. You do these watershed moments. Of course, life goes on. Okay, but we take the time to celebrate. So in terms of the NFL draft, those players having the moment, wonderful. Okay, but don't touch LT number, please. Don't put LT name in your mouth. Don't do that. Don't do that. Warren Moon was very generous. He allowed Cam Ward to have number one. That's a different story. If the luminary, if the great player makes an entreaty, go ahead with it. But you don't add in, you step in the door and you want to put all-time greats in your mouth and as if you're somehow pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. I know everybody, well, I'm the young people, they got the thousands and thousands and it's all attention economy, and I get all of that. But we got to be reasonable, okay? We need to have law, and we need to have some order and a little bit of law, and order. Shout out to Dick Wolf. Okay, so we're going to touch on that. Let me just make sure across the board we're good. Yes, indeed. The IG, you froze up, but you're going to come back to me. The IG is coming back. No. We ain't doing a profile. Come on back to the live. We live right now. Yes, indeed. IG is rocking with me. Okay, here is good. Facebook is good. It's a Tuesday. I know it's back. Sometimes it's a work week for people. So I understand different strokes for different folks, but this is the time that I have to do this program. This is when we jump in. But I hope everybody had a good day. This April showers coming to an end. It's been beautiful, like beautiful. You ever have those experiences? When you're going through and you gotta get up and I gotta get out there and get back to it. We're not independently wealthy, and we know. Shout out to Frederick Douglass. This was my senior quote. We know that without struggle there is no progress. If there's no struggle, there can't be no progress. So I keep that close to me. I have to remember that. But the mornings, I'm not a great morning person. Not a great morning person. But when you get out in the morning, but that sun is shining. That sun is hitting you, and you get out in the road, and we just had beautiful weather. Now, there's gonna be, it can't all be sunshines and rainbows. You gotta have, you know what I mean? It has to be balanced. But these last 2 days to start the week, I mean, spring just came in and just woo, and like you just want to hug somebody. Thankful for the nice weather. So that's been really cool. Kind of lift your spirits as we get into, April showers, one more day, and then we get into the May flowers. So the weather turns around, and it's a good part of the school year coming down the home stretch. Still a lot of work to do, a lot of business, but especially in New England and the Northeast, when that weather turns, it put wind in your sails. So that was my experience today. I hope everybody out there had a good Tuesday. And we're coming down the stretch. Cade, Hunt, and Cam. Boop. Yeah, Detroit going up 5. I wasn't able to rock with you on Sunday, but I will be speaking on what happened to end the Knicks and Detroit Pistons game. We're going to be, as we come down the home stretch, this is where we'll start. Also, some things going on in Milwaukee, changing of the guard. First things first, health is the wealth. And then that mindfulness and understanding, knowledge, and wisdom is also the wealth, right? But you gotta, have the gratitude. So health is wealth, and Dame Dollar, we don't like to see people go down. Major injury is going to take time. It's going to go into next year. Bucks lost to a better team in the Pacers. It is what it is. But again, SandCity, go ahead and check the receipts. We've been talking about this. This experiment is over. It's been over. Okay? Shout out to SandCity Sports. Come with me. Shout out to Plenty Sneaks. Plenty Sneaks with the design. Appreciate it. Flag man with the shirt. The extra comfy joint. Okay? Right? Shout out to, SandCity. We doing, right, this passion project. I'm thrilled. Get the merchandise and little bit. I mean, if I'm the only one that has it, that's where it's at. But I'm just thrilled. I'm happy to be here, folks. I'm happy to be here. Okay. Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year. I like this award, Clutch. A lot to get into with that. And we are Knicks up 5, but Detroit needs Detroit. We have to balance the scales. I don't want, and the Knicks are my team. We don't believe participation trophies. That's not how the Cape Cod Kid gets down. That's not how my New York Knicks under the capable leadership of Tom Thibodeau. That's not how we get down, folks. We don't do the participation trophies. We don't do it. So that was egregious what happened, and I am an official, so we are going to break down. But Detroit, I'm telling you right now, they're up 5. We need the scales have to be balanced. I don't want it to be gifted. I don't even like the idea of the NBA hurrying this series so we can get to the marquee New York versus Boston, right? Major markets, old school rivalry. I don't even like the thought of it in terms of how such a atrocious. And again, I'm an official, and I love how the NBA. We want transparency. You people have you become an official because you want to add surplus value. Shout out to Das Capitals, a little Charles Marx. Okay. Shout out to Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. I'm talking like I'm an economist. I'm clearly not an economist, but I do know these terms. Surplus value. You want to add to the overall quality of the enterprise that you're participating in. That's the surplus value based on your labor power. Okay, and then you get a certain percentage of that, and obviously the man has to get another percentage of that. But you're lifting the enterprise that you participate in. That is the role of an official. And when it doesn't take place, particularly when you have this authority role, you're going to be criticized. This idea, oh, you can't talk about me, you hurt my feelings. No. And if that's how the attitude you have, then whatever a position of authority, you got to take a step back. Okay, because you get the respect and you get the appreciation because you are adding value and you are doing something for more than yourself. That's, teachers are second, they say, in social esteem behind nurses. People, you're a teacher, oh, that's a good, profession, and the things that, because you're sacrificing to better the whole. That's where the goodwill comes in. And so from the standpoint of officials, folks, as an, this we're going to talk about it. And the great officials, the good and the great officials will acknowledge I messed up. Now, you can't go back, but if I got something right, I'm going to tell you I got it right. And we can understand, we'll break down why I got it right. If I got it wrong, doggone it, I got it wrong. And whatever has to take place has to take place. You mess up a ball game, I tell you, there's no worse feeling of botching a ball game. Okay, from the standpoint of the great officials, because you go when you want, you understand how much time the coaches put in, how much time the players put in, how much time the community puts in. They're not here to see people run around in zebra suits. They're here to see a ball game. People take time, we invest, we want to see, okay, we want to see a ball game. Call it straight, call it fair. May the best man win, and we go home, and right, if you won, you earned it. If you lost, you come back tomorrow. But we want a good ball game. That's what we want. Okay, and we didn't have that on Sunday. Didn't have it, period, end of story. So we're going to break down how we got there. And the NBA has just done a tremendous job in terms of informing people. The referees have a social media. They talk about what goes into officiating, a lot of things are behind the scenes, that people might not realize, And let's just be clear, the NBA officiating for the playoffs is the best officiating on the planet, bar none. Bar none. The Olympics has gotten better. But NBA, the flow of an NBA playoff game, okay? And yeah, basketball is a freedom of movement sport with contact. We're going to have contact. But officials, incidental contact that does not affect the normal offensive or defensive movements is to be deemed incidental. We don't need a whistle. That's the greatest rule as far as I'm concerned, incidental contact. Contact that does not affect the normal offensive or defensive movement is to be deemed incidental. We don't need a whistle. We play on. We're playing on. We're not a little bump out here with these are the best athletes on the planet. We don't need a whistle there. When you do affect the normal offensive or defensive movement, you come down with some hacksaw Jim Duggan, then I got to come in with a whistle. But we're going for the elephants. We're not dealing with mice when it comes with the official. We want to see you come out to see the artistry. We're going to see artistry, and I'm going to step in where I need to here and there. That's good officiating. We call it game management. The NBA does the best job. I'm sorry, period. And the play in a verticality is another great rule. Every player has a right to a space on the floor, provided they get there first and legally. All right? You have the right. If you get to that space first, that's your space. You cannot be moved from your space. It's a freedom of movement sport. It's not a collision sport like football. You understand what I'm saying, folks? Let me know how you feel. We doing officiating. Detroit is up 6. I got no problem with this. I got no problem with this series being extended. If they win this game, they win this game. We're going to still talk about what has to happen down the stretch. Because I'm glad they won this game and they go to Detroit, but and we talk about balancing the scales. Mikal Bridges misses the 3. Detroit up 6. Okay, I'm not bothered by this. Actually, I feel like this is the way it should be. Right? That's the way it should be. because we should have been 2-2. Now, had Detroit went up 3-2 rather than the Knicks been up 3-2, I would have had some things to say. All right, but that call decided game 4. It was nonsense. It was ridiculous, and we don't need. Now, if the Knicks would have blown Detroit out in this game, fine. But it's a 4-point game, 49 seconds. Detroit looks like they can hold on, and if they don't do some dumb stuff, they'll do some dumb stuff. But we're gonna look at the call that happened, and then for me, you have one missed call here. You need to now. Right now, they win this, but they haven't. Again, the wrong has not still been righted. If Detroit just wins this game straight up, the wrong has still not been righted. The Knicks, if they lose this game, they lose this game. But Detroit needs a call as far as I'm concerned. That's how you. Now they're gonna, they're running this game, but I'm just clear my philosophy of officiating. I understand two wrongs don't make a right. And let me just be clear. We're going to get to the call and how it was made and why it was the wrong call. We're going to break down some mechanics in a second. But so this game, Detroit, looks like they're just going to hold on and win. And they're just going to win. And okay, so we go back to Detroit 3-2. And the series continues. For my money, if that's the case, I still feel. Now, it's so. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Then we're going to look at the play. I'm saying I would have no problem with Detroit getting a call. And what we say in officiating is under 4 minutes, you got to get it right. All right? Just so a game, there's so many things. And, you called here, you should call it there. And let's break it down. Okay, you miss a call in the first quarter, that you got so much time to make that up. Okay, you miss a call over here, you balance it out. You don't necessarily, you just balance it out. Like if I called it here, then I'm called there. If I got you on a ticky-tack travel here, I'm going to get them on a ticky-tack travel there. You balance the scales. Okay, so that, right? Sometimes the game, the game is just decided. One team is just so much that it doesn't make a difference. And then those are the times, by the way, in terms of game management, that when one team has won, you want to, just be mindful. And if you have a 50-50 call, or if you have a situation, you don't want to pile on that team who's already going to lose. That's just, we call it game management. You don't want to, if you have a chance. Now, if it's 50-50, okay, well, maybe it's this team's ball. Or if there's particularly a conduct situation and somebody, you don't want that quick technical, that snap technical. Mikal Bridges with a 3. Now we got a 3. Mikal with a 3. Now we got a situation here. They're taking the 3 away. What's going on? What's going on here? See, this might be a situation of balancing the scales. It looked like he got the 3 off clean. Now they're going to take the 3 away. Or we're going to have a 3-point game coming down the stretch. It looks like it's a 3-point game. Okay, 3-point game. Detroit with the ball. Okay. Looks like the Knicks, right? They should have to foul. So Detroit has a chance to go to the line. You're still good there. Okay, but that's a little bit. All right, let's get that play. And then we'll break it down. I see a lot of. I need it on YouTube. Let's get the videos. Let's get it on YouTube. I can't go to the Tic Tac just yet. Called Tic Tac. Young people get a kick out of that. I know it's called TikTok. I'm not that old. Okay, so it's going to be. That's not. I might have to do because I didn't get a good. That's not a good angle. So we're going to go Knicks. See if we can get the full highlight reel of the game. Yep. And you should have that play. Okay. Here we go. Got a 3-point game in the current game. Detroit with the ball. Let's see. They should be able, but who knows? We got a long way to go. And we'll see how it plays out. They're having trouble inbounding the ball. They turn it over. They get it. Next foul. Okay, next foul. Here we go. Foul Schroeder. Okay, and again, I'm a Knicks fan. All right, but we don't do participation trophies around here, folks. We ain't on that. We ain't on no participation trophy. Don't. All right. I made it clear the Knicks are my team, and we bout it. And okay. So let's break this down, folks, in terms of the egregiousness that took place, and how it took place, and we'll break it down from an officiating standpoint. Okay, here we go.
Cunningham driving, pull-up jumper, no good. Harris battling, loose ball on the floor, picked up Hardaway, 2 seconds left, puts up the shot, no, and the game is over. JB Bickerstaff is on the floor irate. He thought there should have been a foul called on the Hardaway shot. But the Knicks have won it 94-93 and take a 3-1 series lead.
Okay, so now let's break it down now. Are they going to? No, they're just going to have Jamie Bickerstaff being angry. But we'll break down because it was a foul. So we'll see. Knicks are down 4. No foul. Woo! Go ahead, OG. Interesting now. Okay. So now we got a situation. 5.7. Knicks are going to foul. So this is a 1-possession game. Knicks could have a chance to win it. All right? Let me be crystal clear, folks. Let me be crystal clear with what I'm saying. Before we go back and break down what happened before. Big bucket by OG. Okay? Detroit is still owed a Phantom. Let's be clear, folks. Detroit is still owed a Phantom. So we're looking at a 1-possession game. They may miss 2, you know what I mean? You took away an opportunity from Detroit, or what we say a possession, in game 4. You took away an opportunity to win the game. That's what happened. Period. Excuse me. Detroit has the ball. Let's say they make 1 or 2 free throws. Let's break it down clearly. So now the Knicks have a chance to tie or win. Right? I'm saying, as a true blue Tom Thibodeau Knicks fan, I'm saying you got to give Detroit now an opportunity to be a little physical. Maybe there might be a bump, you know what I mean? If it's not like crazy, okay? No harm, no foul. The Knicks got a bump to take away an opportunity in game 4. They did. Here's Detroit. They can bring inbound in the ball. The Knicks are going to get the ball back with a chance to tie because it's a 1-point game. All right, unless they hit a 3. But probably not going to happen. What I'm saying before this even takes place, with the opportunity the Knicks have, because they're going to have an opportunity. Cade gets it. He's fouled. We'll see what it is. 5.4. Knicks have plenty of time. Detroit, if it's not crazy, you have the opportunity, as far as I'm concerned. Similar contact. All right? Disadvantage that shooter. No harm, no foul. Right? If that takes place in this game, then we're back on track. And we can play the rest of the series even. Because Detroit did this to themselves. They could have saved this Phantom till next game if they hadn't allowed the Knicks to get within 1 possession. They still would have had the Phantom, in my opinion. But now, it's going to be a 1-possession game, 5.4 seconds. Okay? We know what happened. Detroit, you have now the opportunity. Don't hacksaw Jim Duggan somebody, but bump them. Bump them off. Do it. No call. Okay, Knicks, 3-point game. Here we go. Let's see. Deuce has it. He's coming up. Oh, it looks like Detroit's playing the foul game, which is interesting. You're not even going to let the three. Okay, I got no problem. Put him to the line. All right. We'll see if he misses the second one or makes two. You got 2.6 seconds, so you do have enough time to oh, deuce. You got to make the first one. See? You got to make the first one. You didn't make the first one, so now, right? Detroit might not even need to use that phantom because Deuce didn't make the first free throw, which you needed to do. Celtics and Magic, close game. People didn't, I find it crazy. I find it crazy that people, didn't put respect. Let me just got this blank screen. Let's put this.
To get an opportunity.
People haven't been realizing how good the Magic have been, thinking that the Celtics are just going to steamroll a team that's been building culture, character, that has dogs, Wagner, Paulo. They don't even have Suggs. They still got Cole Anthony. Now the physicality of the series, did old boy just, elbow Crispy P for no good reason? We don't need that. Okay? And you need to have respect for airborne shooters. Okay? Detroit wins. Deuce missed the free throws. I told you. They're still owed a phantom. Still owed a phantom. In game 6. Down the stretch, because they won this game outright, you balanced the scales. As far as I'm concerned, you balanced them. Now, again, if the Knicks go ahead and blow them out, then you did it to yourself, Detroit. But you balanced those scales. This call was abhorrent. And let's break it down in terms of what happened. Okay, I'm on the wrong screen. Let's break it down in terms of what happened.
Opportunity to get a putback. Cunningham driving, pull-up jumper, no
rebound
good.
Action,
Harris
Detroit.
Battling, loose ball on the floor.
Okay, skips it to him. Okay, folks.
Hardaway, 2 seconds left.
So it's a bang bang. It is a quick. It's a 1-2. It's a 1-2. Now let's note something. Okay. Now from an officiating standpoint, folks, understand. Okay, the mechanic. Let's just. Right? This official, he's called the lead. The lead is the boss for that possession. The lead determines where the other two officials are. Okay, so the lead is out wide. NBA mechanic may be different. I can't confirm, but let me just, what I'm saying is for high school and the college mechanic, this lead official is not taking the shooter. It's the trail who has a perfect, he's wide, he can see it directly. This shooter is the primary responsibility of the trail who has a tremendous angle. Okay? He can see, he's not straight line. He can clearly see the shooter. He can see the defensive player. There's space between the two, and he can determine, folks, what you're looking for from the standpoint of the defense is verticality. Every player has a right to a space on the floor, provided they get there first and legally. So both players are in their space. Offensive player has his space. Defensive player has his space. Okay? On the contest, the offensive player has a right from the floor to the ceiling within their verticality. Okay? Right? So it's a vertical you can jump straight up. You cannot, if you jump out of your verticality across, now you're coming into potentially occupied territory, which is what happened here. Okay? So you jump here from the official. I'm looking for verticality to start with. If I see verticality, even if there's contact, which happens a lot, the offensive player comes into the defensive player's space and creates the contact. No. You came into occupied territory, my friend. not the other way around. So don't, just because you run up against a brick wall and then you do triple tumble back, flip somersault. I don't know why you ran into the brick wall in the first place. I don't know why you did it. I don't know why. You can tell me why, but you ran into a brick wall and you did, so maybe, you get your weight up. Do some push-ups, but you know what I mean? You're going to run into that brick wall, can you become correct? That's what you got to do. Okay. So we understand the lead is out wide. The lead, generally speaking, wouldn't be focused on the shooter. The lead would be focused on the rebound action, right? The trail, this is the C, the center, okay, has this side of the court, okay? We talk about the basket line, right? The C is on his side, basket line over. He's looking at the rebound action here. All right. If there was a skip pass across the basket line to this shooter, then the C would have this shooter. That would be his, we call it primary coverage area. Now, can you call out of your piece what we call PCA? Yes, you can make a call. But you are out of area. Okay. What we say is, if you're going to make a call out of area, you do not have the best angle on this play. Somebody else has a better angle on the play. You can make that call out of area. There needs to be 3 criteria. First of all, you got to be late, meaning you give that other official the first crack at it. You don't want to supersede. First of all, you're reaching. Second of all, you're making the call before the primary official even has a chance to see that play. What we call, say, the play has to start, the play has to develop, the play has to finish. Okay, the game has finished. We got Celtics going on. We got Clippers going on. Where my next game at? Come on now. There we go. Okay, I'll tune in, but my Clippers, a first-rate organization, Daddy Warbucks. We doing Clippers the Bucks. The Nuggets. The Nuggets were a first-rate organization before they got rid of a NBA championship winning coach because he hurt somebody's feelings and didn't, somebody didn't get enough icing on their Krispy Kreme donut, so then they're gonna fire a championship level coach. Foolishness. I got no love for the Nuggets no more. Team Clippers all the way. Okay. Let's come back to this, right? So if you're going to make a call out of your primary coverage, the lead is out of his primary coverage. The lead, okay, on the shot action in a 3-man crew should be. Now let me step back because I'm not an NBA guy. Let me take a huge step back because I don't know. I know the college, so maybe, but generally speaking, okay, the trail has the 3, the lead, okay? At times, you may signal, and we'll talk about how you signal, and because there's some of that in this, there's a certain way that you signal on a 3-point shot in order to get the best angle, okay? Right, so you're going to signal that it's a 3. You're going to use, obviously, your right or your left. That's what you know what I mean? But again, on a 3, folks, you want to signal. This lead is going to signal with his right hand. Now he's so far out wide, okay? But you want to signal opposite, right? You don't want to signal with this and then you're looking that way. If that's okay, you don't want to signal with this arm and I'm looking this way, because if I have to look outside, you're blocked. You're blocked. You see that? And so you don't generally want to signal with the outside arm. You want to signal with the inside. Okay, here, because I'm not looking this way, right? I can't get, if something happens, I'm signaling here and there's contact and like I lose whatever happened. I just see, I can't see who hit who first. It's going to go, because I can't see, you know what I mean? We don't got the x-ray vision, we're not, Dr. whoever from X-Men, right? Right, folks? Okay, so you with me? Because the Knicks, there's still a phantom that needs to be, the Knicks, Juice, you should have made a free throw. There's still a phantom that Detroit is owed as far as I'm concerned. I got no problem with this series going back to Detroit. But there's still a phantom that has to be given as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we're still breaking this down. Okay, so this is the primary, the trail who has a great angle. He can see it. He's looking directly at it. The lead is out wide to give a secondary look. Okay? And I told you a little bit about the signaling. I believe they both signal, they use the outside versus the inside. So this official is going to signal with his left. I'm saying it, okay. But again, here, because the play is moving, you want to give yourself that opening based on where the play is moving. But I think they both signal here, which gives them a little bit of, but he still has a clear angle. And the lead is outside as well. He's going to also signal with his outside rather than inside. Okay, let's watch it. Okay, I'm on the wrong screen. Talking about what people should be doing. I ain't even on the right screen. Let's go.
Picked up Hardaway.
Okay, the shot is up. I'm not going to, we'll come back to the contact. Let's just look where they signal.
2 seconds left.
Okay, so this official, I got it wrong. He signals with the right arm. He didn't signal. That's my bad. He signals with his right, so he has the clear look. He can see it clearly. Obviously, he didn't make the call, but he had a clear look.
Puts up the shot.
I can't see specifically if the lead, which, let me come back.
Picked up Hardaway, 2 seconds left.
So the lead signaled with his outside, so the lead was a little bit blocked. The trail, he had the mechanic perfect. He signaled with his outside. He saw it completely. Lead signaled with his, signal with his outside, that kind of. But now let's take a look at the contact. Come back.
Touched it last. Nick's ball.
Curran could get an opportunity to get a putback.
Cunningham driving, pull up jumper.
Now we're going to look at the contact.
No good.
Folks.
Harris battling, loose ball on the floor.
It's a bang bang play now. It's a bang bang play. This lead has it clear. Okay, he picks it up.
Picked up.
He alights. You see, boom. You can see Josh Hart is out of his verticality. Clearly, before either one signals. He's jumped out of his verticality. Tim Hardaway hasn't even up-faked him. So this is horrendous defensive technique. And my main man, Tom Thibodeau, is seeing this as a defensive coach. This is horrendous. He hasn't even begun the normal shooting motion. You and all the fury, you're already far out of your verticality. So even, this play that happens, you up fake the guy, he comes out of his vertical, and you just, now, NBA is kind of clocked down on jumping into the defender. But even if you just jump straight up, he's already in your space. We already have a foul. Okay, he's out of his verticality. He's coming to Tim Hardaway's space.
Hardaway.
He alights. He has the right. He alights. Hart was in his. Now, where does he finish, folks? He jumped inside the 3-point line. He finishes far outside the 3-point line through Hardaway's body. This official, before he doesn't even signal. He doesn't even have to signal, because you can go back and check that. He sees it clear. This official here, wide stance, he sees it clear. Neither one of these guys have even signaled. Okay? Just based on what the defender did. Josh Hart starts something we call this 12-6 as well. We call it 12-6. Generally, that's on a block shot. We tell the players to stay high. Okay? But if you do try to come with some Dikembe energy, shout out to the late, great Dikembe Mutombo. Man shall not fly in the house of Mutombo. If you come with that Mutombo energy, coming from here, from 12, swatting down to 6, you better hit nothing but air. Okay? Because if you've come out of your verticality and you put yourself in, if you don't hit the ball to change the trajectory of the ball, now you still could get that foul because, the shooter is he has shooting privilege until he comes back down to the floor. So even if you block the shot, but then come down and hit the player as he's in his normal offensive movement, you're in danger of a foul. Okay, but if you block the shot and then you come into unoccupied space, you're good. That's on the 12-6 blocking motion. Okay, but this is 12-6. You're just jumping across. You jump across rather than, again, vertical. We're looking for verticality. All right, so we can see neither official has even fouled, and you just have, okay, way out of area through Hardaway, who's falling backwards based on the contact. Okay, that's
2 seconds left.
Okay, Hardaway falls back. The official signals late. Then this official goes, you see how he's now looking at the shot. This official, his eyes is looking here, whereas, again, you stay with the shooter. The trail is going to stay with that shooter to see. Hardaway's not even in the frame anymore. He's been bumped out. He's been WWE bumped all the way out of bounds. Okay, and we have the C now has all of the rebound action. The lead is wide. He can come back over and see some of the, the rebound action here. But now the C has to take care of the whole paint. The trail here, I'm looking at his eyes. He's looking here rather than staying with that shooter. This would be the trail's opportunity to come in late. Like you're not sure. Again, we say better a second late than a second early in officiating. It's like, oh, well, the call was, it was late, but it was right. So you can, I didn't make the call. I didn't have my, officials, we like to capture the call, your timing, you know what I mean? Just like music. But I say, why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Shout out to the late great Michael Jackson, human nature. You know what I'm saying? You want to have that rhythm and discipline, and you want to capture the call. Just like you want to capture a note in music, you want to capture a call in officiating. You want to just boom, right? Split second, capture it. Okay, now that's optimal, but again, sometimes you come in late. You give it that extra second. Think of boom, foul. It was late, but it was right. You're right, coach. I was late, but I was right. Okay, better a second late and right than a second early and wrong. Okay, so the official had the opportunity to come in late. Looks like his eye went to the rebound action. Again, this, split second, right, we're breaking this down, but again, you want to stay with that shooter. Has the right hand signaled, has the clear look. He's not blocked. He can clearly see. Look at where Josh Hart started. He's all the way. He started before the three-point line. He's all the way on the Knicks bench, hanging out with Jalen Brunson's dad. Hardaway Jr. done been knocked out the ring. If this is the Royal Rumble, they might have to come back. Shout out to the Royal Rumble. Great event in wrestling. If you know what I mean, he's all, and it's just egregious. And I have no problem. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff.
Puts up the shot, no, and the game is over.
Go ahead.
JB Bickerstaff is on the floor and Rave. He thought there should have been a foul called on the Hardaway shot.
Tell him, JB.
But the Knicks have won it 94-93 and take a 3-1 series lead.
That is a foul.
Cade is standing by with Jalen Brunson.
Jalen, you go down at the end of the third quarter.
No. We're going to break it down one more time.
Carl Anthony Towns gives the Knicks the lead.
Go ahead, Catman.
Cunningham guarded by Bridges. Anunoby watching him, though. Cunningham drives, knocked away, out of bounds. Cunningham touched it last. Knicks ball.
Curran could get an opportunity to get a putback.
Cunningham driving, pull-up jumper. No
quick,
good.
It's a bang, bang.
Harris battling. Loose ball on the floor.
He repositions. He has an angle. He sees it.
2 seconds left. Puts up the shot.
Late.
No. And the game is over.
He just missed
JB Bickerstaff is on the floor and Rave.
And you see how the trail, he doesn't even respond.
Hardaway shot.
Sometimes he kind of knows.
But the Knicks have won it 94-93 and take a 3-1 series lead. Cade is standing by with Jalen Brunson.
Jalen, you go down at the end of the third quarter. Knicks fans are holding.
Let's watch it again.
It's over.
Okay, so you see the trail right here. JB runs across him, which is, the coach shouldn't be on the court, shouldn't be, and whatever he's thinking, I'm not a mind reader, but he just walks away. He just walks away.
JB Bickerstaff is on the floor and
he just walks away, You're thinking about it. You're going over it in your mind. It's a terrible feeling. I can tell you that. awful feeling in a split second a game,
He thought there should have been a foul
JB goes to the lead.
call on the Hardaway shot. But the Knicks have won it.
This guy has nothing to do with it. He's the C on the other side. The lead, even though he was the closest proximity-wise and could have come in with a call. The lead, he could have come in with a call, but he's the secondary. People are screaming at him. It's not his call. It's not his call. And even the C might have, the C, you can see,
94-93 and take a 3-1 series lead. Cade is standing by with Jalen Brunson.
Not a good feeling. Not a good feeling at all, folks. But they handled it. They handled it well. They didn't handle it well. What am I saying here? Denver 28, Clips 19. It's a battle back and forth. Didn't handle it well because they missed a call, but they just walked off, and you walk it off, and you just know. You messed up. You messed up, and it is what it is in that regard, that capacity. Okay. Pistons get the dub tonight, tie the series up. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about other people, and then I go and I mess up 3-4 things. First of all, the officials didn't get it right. They got it wrong, but they just walked off the court, didn't escalate anything further. That's what I'm talking about. Series is not tied. Knicks are up 3-2. Heading back to Detroit. There's still a phantom out there that they didn't have to use. They could have. There could have been a phantom that could have been, because they put themselves in a position for a one-possession game. But didn't have to use it as far as I'm concerned. They're still owed a call down the stretch in a tight game. They're still owed one. Now, this is for Game 6 purposes. Game 7, all bets are off. If Game 7, no, you don't do it in a Game 7. That's a different story. But in a Game 6, if it's close and Detroit, the Knicks, right? Because again, what I'm saying is under 4 minutes, you got to get it right. Under 2 minutes, that team's not going to get a chance. They won't be able to chance to get that possession back. You miss a call under 2 minutes, certainly, you can't, balance that out, right? Or even, right, let's say that call happened, then you have to foul, and the Knicks have to, they have the opportunity to go up 2 possessions, and you're not able to get back into the one possession situation. So you got to be 100% right under 2 minutes. Refs weren't good ball game tonight. Troy came out with the W. We're heading back to Detroit, and so, right, it could have, Knicks could have won tonight, after the, so we still got a very good series is the point at the end of the day. And we're rocking from there. Boston has turned it on against Orlando, up 24. Denver and the Piston, and the Clips are in a battle. Denver's up 9. This one is going down the stretch. Let me just let people know. Let people know what's going on. And we're going to keep this thing moving and grooving. Keep it moving and grooving. Okay, so let's take a look. A couple more NBA things. Then we're gonna get to some things in the culture that I have to get to. Let me just, because I went deep on the officiating. I got a lot that we got to, I went deep on the officiating. Facebook is doing what it's doing. IG is doing what it's doing. Okay, appreciate folks with me on the Twitter, Twitch, so on and forth. We're going to go across the land in the NBA. Then I'm going to also, we're going to talk about the NFL. No doubt, there's no two ways about the NFL is going to be discussed. Take me out to a ball game. Baseball, 'tis the season. Okay, so let's do some lightning in the NBA. Number of things to talk about. I don't have a problem with JJ Redick playing his starters for the whole second half. I'm coming from the listen. Pat Riley, I trust 8. I play 8. Trust 7. Play 6. I play 8. I trust 7. I play 6. So when it comes to the nitty gritty, I'm, all these people talking about load management and oh my goodness, LeBron and Luka, they had to play, a whole half. They can get tired and do they have enough electrolytes and all this boo-hoo nonsense that's going on. Okay. Hoopers, and yes, LeBron is 40. He's older. Luka is not in tremendous shape. So I get that. Okay, but let's be clear on something. JJ Redick is coming from the Coach K tradition. Coach K, John Wooden says, John Wooden, and I'm saying a couple things. Let's just start with Coach K. Coach K played 7 guys. Okay, the whole Duke Carolina rivalry. Roy Williams is known for pace and space. Roy Williams, who brought prosperity back to Carolina. He brought prosperity back to Carolina, and they won some natties. And then Coach K won his natties, and they battled back and forth in the 2020 teens. All right, but before Roy, they were struggling with Brad Daugherty. But Roy is the one that took Brad Daugherty's recruits. One Mr. Rashad McCann. Shout out to out of New Hampton and New Hampshire. Saw him playing prep school. He's on Gales Arena. They do a great job. Okay, we don't play hey, we congratulate. Rashad McCants was good at New Hampton prep where I saw him play. Then he was an All-American. Then he went to Carolina. Okay, won a natty at Carolina with Ray Felton and Sean May and so on and forth under Roy Williams' leadership. Roy Williams believes in pace and space. He always has those two bigs, lumbering bigs. Okay, Pollard and LaFrentz back in the Kansas days with Paul Pierce. But Roy Williams is going to play 8, 9 guys. He's going to sub guys in, and he's just, this guy come in and get, and this guy, he's going to play. That's how he plays. Coach K committed to his man defense. Pride of Chicago, locking. Coach K, I'm playing 7 guys. 7, period. You're not in that 7-man rotation. I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, Coach K, I'm bringing you're an All-American now. If you're not coming into this leadership, and again, before this whole NIL, you can't say anything bad about me, or I'm gonna call my parents and my agent. I'm leaving before this whole NIL nonsense. You just had to come up under the leadership, and you had to sit out if you were going to transfer, but you don't really want to do that, so you just take it. But Coach K, 7. Years ago, John Wooden, the gold standard, the Wizard of Westwood. Okay, I'm coaching my first 7. I'm coaching these 7 guys. These are the guys I'm relying on. I love that. Personally, I love. Now, again, if I'm the 8th guy, 9th guy, 10th, but I don't have a problem with that. Get in the first 7 and then get the bulk of the minutes. But this is not the YMCA. This is not participation trophy. I got to give you minutes here. I got to give you no. Get in the first 7 or don't. But, I'm not going to be, coaches, when you're in a nip and tuck situation, first of all, you have to be able to come off the bench and produce. That's number 1. That's a skill. You got to have that Ginobili, Jamal Crawford, in you to be able to come in and immediately make a difference. Not just come in, your lip poked out, and I'm only, you know what I mean? That you got to be able to, that's a skill in and of itself before I can trust you to get in the game. Okay, and then, right, you got to be able to do that. But I have no problem with coaches. Now you're going to say, okay, I'm talking about 7 guys. JJ only played 5. JJ only played 5 guys, which is so guys didn't have a chance to come in the game. You also, they got guys. Lakers have talent, Vanderbilt, Knapp, Gabe Vincent. They have Jackson Hayes, kind of a, they have some pieces that they can move around that are spark plug guys. Okay. So the argument that I've heard, Denver with the zip code for the jerseys. Back to, yes. So just staying with 5 and like your core guys. Now, first of all, LeBron is getting old, but it's the playoffs. You have nothing to lose. And then you have all these TV timeouts. It's not like a marathon situation where you're just continuously, you don't get breaks. That's the other thing about when people, talk, rotate. There's so many TV timeouts. You're not really playing for extended you're not playing for like 20 minutes straight. If this is like a men's league game or just like a pickup game where you're just in continuous motion and you're never, there are breaks that are let's understand that. Okay. I don't have an issue with it. Ant-Man played the whole 4th quarter. Now Ant-Man is different. Ant-Man is in his prime and it's just a supernova. Take 15 years off of LeBron. Obviously, you give me a 25, 26, 7-year-old LeBron. 25, 6, 7-year-old Ant-Man. It's just a whole different ball of wax. He can play 3 games in a row. Right? Shout out to the late great Satchel Paige talking about the Negro Leagues. What are you talking about a relief pitcher in the Negro Leagues? This is one of the reasons I can't stand load management nonsense in terms of the history. You're talking about a relief pitcher. In the Negro League, you said you paid for 9. I expect you to go for 9. We ain't relief pitcher. We're gonna do pitch count. You paid for 9, you're going 9. You understand? That's how you get a Satchel Paige. That's how you get a Bob Gibson. All right? This what? Pitch count. You pay for now again, pitchers, your arm, I get the rest and stuff like that. But again, perspective-wise. Act like Western civilization is going to collapse because somebody had to do the job that they love, and just go out there and compete and win a high intensity game. Like what else would you rather do? Instead of being in those moments. Like what else? Will Smith talked about it. We got rock bottom, which will learn you, and you also have cliff top. Will Smith really said this eloquently, where you just blast out of the material world and there's just so much privilege and you have everything almost. Now you can still be miserable. Okay, you'd be miserable with broke, you'd be miserable with wealthy. But the point is, my connection to that is, there's certain things that are distinctive and you can't manufacture, regardless of how much money you have. And live sports is one of those. Okay, maybe it's real, it's actual, and you up or down. In life, you have so much money, you can just avoid certain realities. Obviously, you're not going to avoid ultimate realities because you're human. But my point that like this is the thing. This is the juice. This is Like and LeBron, LeBron has always been like, I'm here for this. LeBron is not one of these guys, and there are superstars that just fade in these moments, and they just don't. The pressure's too much. They're not focused on whatever reason. They just don't. They're not about it. And when the heat goes up, I'm good. Max play, I'm good for now. I can't focus. Call my agent. I can't concentrate. This is too much pressure. I can't. This is too much. Yeah, I ain't saying no names, but they're out there. LeBron and Luka too. They what? Pressure? You going to This is also it's an instance like when you talk about people that are into gaming or gaming as in like video games or like gaming as in cards. Like once you're locked in and you're in now, don't stay, you know what I mean? Don't risk the family farm. But once you're in that mode, and I play for 24 hours, they be playing just days. I get up, I get a movement break, I bust down a snack of Rudy, and I'm back in the mix. This is what you know what I mean? This is what I do. So like I got no problem. They lost, okay. If they would have won, people, but I shorten the rotation, put your dogs out there and see what happens. Right? That to me, in conclusion, that's a Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran first bout, just mano a mano. That's a Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. We out here toe to toe, baby. What? I'm here for it. Okay. Minnesota taking control of that. I must speak on. I know we getting see where people are at. We'll see. Okay, folks. Got to speak on the Rockets Golden State game. Good game, back and forth. Golden State, playoff Jimmy, and just the experience, right? And the experience. I'm not gonna, this show is gonna go as long as it has to go. two things in terms of the Rockets. Golden State, they've been there, and Peyton is winning matchups. Buddy Hield is winning matchups. Clearly, Draymond is out there winning matchups, right? The Rockets are the younger team. They just got the young legs, you know what I mean? But they're like Peyton is getting tip-ins and rebounds and 50-50. That should not be happening when the Rocket, you should be, the way that Amen Thompson is just dominates his space, right? Like the Rockets, they shouldn't be getting out, the energy points, the Tommy points should be leaning towards the Rockets. Instead, they're leaning towards the Warriors. That's one thing. Got to get to a couple elephants in the room. And, I didn't love the play calls down the stretch, just going to Sengun and just, with his hook shot, backing guys down. He took a hook shot from the dotted line straight. Like he didn't even have an angle at the glass. That's just not a high percentage shot. I'm sorry. Give the ball to Fred VanVleet and run some pick and roll stuff. I don't like just isolating a big and he's too far away from the basket. A, B, you can just collapse on him. Those play designs, I would have liked to see guys in space drive and kick, screen, roll, rather than just inside out. Okay? Jalen Green, MIA. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. Okay, first of all, when you're down 3 and he's a sniper, A. B, you're giving him, and he's, right? Cade was 1, he was 2, and they're both legit. Like, Jalen, this is your time. The Rockets are the number 2 overall seed. Him not being there, never mind Sengun and just not taking high percentage shots, because he didn't. He didn't take a high percentage shot or get fouled to go to the lane. The floater from the dotted is awful. You have to, it's just a tough shot. You shoot it long, it's off the backboard. It's tough to get you don't have an angle from the backboard, so you just essentially have to swish it or just have such a nice touch. It bounces off the front rim and just, it's a tough shot straight away in front of defenders. It is. So that was not a quality possession. VanVleet hit some threes, some isolation bomb threes. I would just, Houston, that's not a thing. Just giving it, and Sengun is not that guy. He's not a Tim Duncan. He's not that dominant in the post that you can just feed him and clear out to get a bucket. He's not. Give it to VanVleet. Run some traditional pick and roll stuff. Scheme guys open for rhythm threes, or weak side attacks, right? That's like VanVleet attacks on the strong side, coming right. The defense collapsed, and he skips it to Jabari Smith. Then now now the defense is moving. You started the blender. Now you can exploit some seams to get a mid range. Doesn't have to be a 3. It can be a mid range, or it can be a lane might open to the basket where you can attack the basket and get to the free throw line. All right. Didn't love the play designs. Jalen Green, it's atrocious. I got no problem with MA putting him to the bench. I know there's something going on there. Jalen Green has had, his situations. He's had his situations off the field that he's dealing with, so on and forth. And I'm not going to, dive into that too deep, but, the bottom line is this. And this is what I'm going to connect with, the point that we have to talk about, and we talked about a lot of movement this summer. A lot of movement and teams that it's just not working. So stars are going to be on the move. There's talk about Booker to Detroit. I'm here for it. He's from Michigan. The Suns are a dumpster fire. You can't move Bradley Beal. Booker to Detroit. Now, Booker to Detroit. KD, he's got to go. Houston, who's going to be Jalen Green? Okay. So Durant now, he wants out. Houston wants him to come in, bring that, that just, they need leadership. And even though Jalen Green's in his early 20s and, and Durant's in his late 30s, but if you talk about winning, and we you clearly see they're having struggles with leadership and just that winning culture. You trade those years of production for win now. And by the way, you trade Jalen Green. Houston is so stacked with young talent. Reed Shepard is a dude. Number 3 overall pick. He's a dude. He's their next point guard and waiting. You're going to be looking at a backcourt next year with Van Fleet and Reed playing together. Reed Shepherd is a dude. He's not even getting minutes right now. So they've drafted well. MA is developing. You have Amen Thompson. You have Jabari Smith. You have Jalen Green, who's going to, now I think he's going to be a piece to move. And then you have Reed Shepherd. They just have young, explosive talent to work with. So one of those, you get rid of one of the three young stars. You keep Reed, you keep Thompson, you keep Jabari Smith. Okay, that makes sense. Trade, and then you bring in Kevin Durant. It makes sense for the Rockets. Also, Miami's in the mix. Miami's heavy in the mix in terms of destination of choice. All right, Durant favors Miami. Who knows who he favors? Durant could play in Miami. Giannis could play in Miami. Dame could play in Miami. The Milwaukee experiment is done. I credit them for being professional this year, but it was only, they it's not just that they lost Drew Holiday, but they gave Drew Holiday to the Celtics, creating a dynasty. So it was just, and who could, Cronin for Portland and Riley, they were just at odds. So, Drew could have went to Miami. He would have been fine there. That would have kind of balanced it a little bit more, but they were, and Brad Stevens, executive of executives, swooped in, got Drew. So now Boston's a dynasty. Okay. Cleveland with Kenny Atkinson, the Knicks, if they can get their mind right, your window's closed. And you helped close the window with not appreciating what you had with Drew and also with Coach Bud. And so it's done. So Giannis is out of there. The Warriors is bananas. Giannis to the Warriors, the young people, Przorski, Kuminga, Post, some picks, third team, Giannis, Steph, and JB. It works. Or Miami. Bam is talking, whoever. You might Bam Hero, one of the two, but and Dame is older, so. But the Jalen Green situation, for me, it's crazy that he's not out there, someone in fourth, but it's looking like, in the offseason, Green out of there, Durant or whoever in there, and they just grow with their other young pieces. Shedeur Sanders situation, folks. Okay. First of all, grow where you're planted. Grow where you're planted. Those type of moments, I know, it's just a fact. All of this celebration of quote unquote potential. Somebody has quote unquote potential, so they have to, and if you don't celebrate my potential, then I'm not going to, it's nonsense. And you can skip around AAU teams. You can skip around college teams. You can get your NIL money. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to be successful if that's your mentality, period. So when people do slight you, like they slighted Steph Curry, we keep going over this, not ranked. Virginia Tech told him the red shirt. Okay, you want to talk about Michael getting cut from the JV team. Those slights are what builds character. Giannis having to build, you know what I mean? That's what gives you the hunger. Dame, Weber State, right? That's how you get to the mountain, by getting knocked down the mountain so many times and then just being, gung-ho about getting up the mountain and dominating. So that's part of it. That's how I would handle this for Shedeur. Collusion, no. The reporting that and before I even get to reporting, okay. So Shedeur, he's confident, he's his father's son. Okay. He's his father's son. So prime. Okay. But he's not his father, who is an all-time, one of, if not the greatest cornerbacks in history. That's who his father is. So the confidence that he exudes, or that is exuded, can be received if you are a supernova. Right? We will deal with this hubris, this excessive pride, because you are a supernova. Okay? Let me just let folks know they might want to. I can deal with it because you're a supernova. Shador's not a supernova. Nothing wrong with not being a supernova, but just you know what I mean? The way, like in the NBA, this whole player empowerment movement started, not start, but accelerated by LeBron James because he's LeBron James. LeBron James can lean on individuals, because he's LeBron James. Everybody does not have, as Shaquille O'Neal says, those G14 clearances. You don't. So Shador, I think, he was graded as a second round quarterback. He went in the 5th round. This was not a draft for quarterbacks. It's just not. But he got, there's him being leapfrogged. There's 2 things I want to say. And it's that there's I'm not going to say supernova. Arch Manning is the guy. He's the guy. He's been rated that super high. But the reason I'm confident and I'm looking forward to Arch Manning is because his family line said, you know what, Arch, you're going to sit. Now, that doesn't mean everybody has to sit and has to do this. But his family said, you're going to sit that first year as the number 1 overall prospect, as, top in NIL. You're going to sit. You're coming from the golden boy, and his dad, Peyton and Eli, those are his uncles. But you're going to sit. You're the supernova. You're sitting and learning this first year. Patrick Mahomes did this. Now he wasn't, as heralded, but he sat a second year, folks, and learned. Now he has to stay in college for 3. College is different, but he got another year of learning. There's not a conversation about who's better between Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers. Who has that's not a Quinn Ewers good having it. Okay, he's not Arch Manning. Period. He's not. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Quinn, great career. You know what I mean? At Texas, go on, success. There's a difference. So now, after he's been just just learning and growing, and then I think he's going to be the Heisman next year. That's what I'm saying. I think the talent that he has, and then just the 2 years of just when everybody plays from day one. Every freshman, that's a phenom. Like he could have went plenty of places and just been playing these last 2 years. But that's my thing with Shador and that different perspective. You're confident. You're coming into the league. I get it. So on and forth. But also to come into the league and say, I'm going to have, even if I am the guy, like I got to come in and really do a lot of work and just be very receptive and be a sponge to come in and do well. Like people, let's remember Joe Burrow, don't go to Cincinnati. It's not a first-rate organization. Their practice fields are outside and they haven't won, and say, Joe, I see, Cincinnati, but I'm going to go there and I'm going to do and I'm going to show you. And he did from day one. Joe Burrow showed from day one, I'm that guy, period. Got to the Super Bowl in year 2. He's had injuries. He's been injured. He's had injuries in college, and the Cincinnati made the right decision. They had a high draft pick, get an offensive line. No, I'm going to get you a dude. They got his man from, and that connection has just took him to a Super Bowl, has taken him to heights. Joe Burrow's had injuries that have kind of, but he's been, as long as he's been out there, there's just been no question that he is the guy. There's no question about it. And it wasn't about Cincinnati, and I'm going to show you. Tom Brady, well done is better than well said. I'm going to show you. I ain't got to, you know what I mean? And that's real power. Real power is letting other people think they have the power and going along with, but knowing that at the end of the day, I'm the indispensable man. Right? That's power. Projecting yourself and okay, puffing, I get it, brand, money, so on and forth. But And I've been talking to you for an hour and 14, so I'll talk to you. You know what I mean? Your boys want to talk. But when you cash that, don't let your mouth cash that check that you're behind. Don't let your mouth write a check that behind can't cash. You feel? Don't let your mouth write it, and now the behind you can't cash it. So the Browns, it's a good situation. He has an opportunity to go in there and grind, and go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and get it. It's there for you, Okay, so let's take a look in terms of where we're at. Okay, there we go. Let me get on my right. We're going to do a little bit of slice of life and just seeing what's going on. And ooh, we got some bars. We got some bars that's out here that we got to discuss. We'll do 2 or 3 of the slice of life before we keeps it moving. 2 or 3 of the slice of life before we keep it moving. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Okay, so let's come down. And okay, we got we'll start here, folks. A little bit of slice of life. Again, we don't play or hate, we congratulate. Oh, yeah, certainly we don't play or hate, we congratulate. This is, one of the things, I say and I've learned. You got to be careful what you wish for in life, folks. We got to be careful what we wish for, because you might get it. You might get it. And then where are you going to be? Excuse me, 2009. Won the lottery. Gentleman here, Michael Carroll. And let's see how it worked out. He won it in he won it in 2002, excuse me. By 2010, he's back he's in the waste management business. Earns a living as a coal man. He said, I'd do it all over again. I don't know about that. When you have a chance for the generational wealth, you might want to make it generational. He say, I swung and I missed. It is what it is. No shame in his game. But they say, good fortune is as light as a feather. As light as a feather, and few men can carry it. I'm gonna save that for later. Okay, so let's move on to the next. We got two more. Let folks know. And let's go with our next. Let's go with our next. And then one more after that. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Okay. One of my favorite movies, one of my favorite scenes of my favorite movie. Shout out to the late, great Robin Williams.
Totally vulnerable. Knowing someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. Who could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel. To have that love for her be there forever. Through anything. Through cancer. And you would know about sleeping sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors could see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you. You don't know about real loss, because that only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself.
Yep.
I doubt you've ever dared to love anybody that much.
Mm-hmm. Here it is.
I look at you, I don't see an intelligent, confident man. I see a cocky, scared, shitless kid.
Speak the truth.
But you're a genius, Will.
Mm-hmm.
No one denies that.
Build him up.
No one could possibly understand the depths of you. But you presume to know everything about me because you saw a painting of mine. You ripped my fucking life apart. You're an orphan, right? Do you think I'd know the first thing about how hard your life has been? How you feel? Who you are? Because I read Oliver Twist. Does that encapsulate you? Personally, I don't give a shit about all that, because you know what? I can't learn anything from you. I can't read in some fucking book. Unless you want to talk about you, who you are. And I'm fascinated. I'm in. But you don't want to do that, do you, sport? You're terrified of what you might say. You move, Chief. But you've never looked at a woman.
May have played this before. I don't care. Again and again. You know, that park bench, you know, he's going back. You know, that thousand, you know, you think thousands of people were just around while that scene, which is, you know, that's Good Will Hunting is such a good movie. There's so many different parts of it, you know, and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won, you know, original screenplay. Again, they wrote the you know, the screenplay, right? They were actors, you know, Massachusetts men, Harvard men, but, you know, having trouble moving up. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to create, you know, and that's one of the things that I go back to, right? Don't worry about who's stopping you. You got to build your own, because that's another reason I love this film and tremendous amount of respect for Matty D and Ben Affleck, you know, Bostonians. But that, you know, that's the generational, that's the coming of age, you know, that just explains so many things. You know, bottom line, you say, you know, when I look at you, what do I see? You know, not what you know, and I think this, you know, back to college athletes and coming up, you know, not what you see and what, you know, what do I see? Can you take that evaluation? Can you take that criticism? Can you take that, you know, can you go through the crucible to prove yourself? All right. I know now, you know, with the, you know, tension economy, we all have to put ourselves and promote ourselves and me, you know, because everybody else is doing it. So I got to doing it, but it doesn't amount to anything. There's nothing substantive by you just talking, you know, eventually you got to show something. Okay, I look at you, I don't see. What do I see? What do they see? Those that are fair and impartial and coming from, what do they really see? When they look at you. Okay, there's a lot, but last but not least, excuse me. I'm sorry, but there's some fun stuff that's been going on. We're going to get to the fun stuff next episode. There's a couple fun things, but there's just been bars. Michelle Obama just been out there with bars, that I gotta, and again, this is appropriate because we're talking about coming of age stuff. So we'll do it from the standpoint of Good Will Hunting, and then we're going to let the former First Lady take us out of here. Just about, again, forget what Greek philosopher who said the roots of education are bitter, right? It's hard for a reason. Shout out to Jimmy Dugan. But the fruit is sweet. Roots are bitter. When you're coming of age, the fruit is sweet. Michelle Obama.
Raising babies, I'm raising adults. And that completely shifts your approach as to how you parent if you're not like just trying to raise a friend. Because let me tell you, if you want a friend, you never want your friend to be mad at you, right? You want your friend to like you.
Yeah.
And if you're a parent and you're worried about whether your kid likes you, I guarantee you are screwing them up. Right? Because so much of parenting means that you have to suffer through them gritting under their teeth of, oh, I hate you. Oh, mommy, make me so mad. As my girls say, that their favorite phrase of mine is, I'm not one of your little friends. You don't have to like me. You can go in your room. You can say whatever you want, but you better not let me hear it. And when you come out, you still have to do it because I am not raising you to be my friend. I'm raising you to be a human, a responsible adult in the world.
Yes.
This is the biggest, most important thing that I'm doing. And it isn't about me. It is about who this little human is going to be and how they're going to enter the world. And are they going to be empathetic? Are they going to be responsible? Are they going to be an asshole out here? And you start doing that when they're 2 and 3 and 4. All of that work is it starts that early. Have these hard kind of conversations, deal with these mistakes and failures when they're 10 and 5 and 13. Rather than having them live in our basement at 35 for the rest of their lives. It's like, I don't want a kid in my basement. I'm not raising babies. I'm raising adults. And that completely shifts your approach as to how you parent if you're not like just trying to raise a friend. Because let me tell you, if you want a friend, you never want your friend to be mad at you, right? You want your friend to like you.
Yeah.
And if you're a parent and you're worried about whether your kid likes you, I guarantee you are screwing them up, right? Because so much of parenting means that you have to suffer through them gritting under their teeth of, oh, I hate you. Oh, mommy, make me so mad. As my girls say, that their favorite phrase of mine is, I'm not one of your little friends. You don't have to like me. You can go in your room. You can say whatever you want, but you better not let me hear it. And when you come out,
you better not let me hear it. No lies detected. I'll take a couple shots. But no lies detected there. In terms of, and again, we talk about next generation coming up and the road that they have to, that quote unquote real world that people have been hearing about. Super duper hard. It's super duper hard, and you gotta. So again, education, roots are bitter. The fruit is sweet. Yes, sir. So halftime of the Clips and the Nuggets. I'm Team Clips all the way. organizations that do it the right way, but we'll see how that plays out. Knicks and Pistons are heading back to Detroit Rock City. 3-2 advantage Knicks. The Pistons, they're right there, and they've been playing strong all series. Celtics take care of business, knock out the Magic. And it's a beautiful thing. Hope your Tuesday has gone well. I appreciate the nice weather here in the Commonwealth, the Northeast in general, and keep it moving and grooving from there. Folks, thank you for tuning in to SandCity Sports. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. Appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, and we will see you again the next time. Peace.